Welcome to the All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. On this edition of the All Around Joe podcast, I'm going to be talking about how to eat healthy on a budget. This podcast idea came from one of my Facebook friends. So if you guys ever want me to do a podcast on a particular topic, just shoot me a message. I'm happy to do a podcast on pretty much any health, fitness, CrossFit life topic that you think would be relevant that I could give you some good advice about. So just shoot me over a message. I always prefer that it's done on social media so that everybody can see what's going on there. But if you don't feel comfortable about that, you can always do so at an email by emailing me at joe@allaroundjoe.com. So like I said, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about how to eat healthy on a budget. Actually, right now, if you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, which you can do so by going to allaroundjoe.com/YouTube, or watching the podcast, I should say, on the YouTube channel, I am in Anaheim, right across the street from Disneyland, because we are down here getting the last little bit of our van completed at ADF Sprinters, which is over in San Fernando. So we thought we'd stop in over at Anaheim, go see Mickey at Disney. It's been years since I did Disneyland, and yesterday we did the whole thing, California Adventure and Disneyland, all in one day. Crushed it out, got to the park right at 9 a.m. We did take one little break where we came back and got some food in the hotel, but otherwise we were there from 9 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. It was a day at Disney, and I slept like a log last night. So we're having a great time here. Also, I just wanted to mention on the podcast, for you podcast listeners, that if you want to follow along what I'm doing with the van stuff, because I'm living in a van for the next year or so, you can do so by going to the Vantastic Life, and that's at Instagram, at Facebook, or thevantasticlife.com, and follow along. So we're going to be doing some interesting stuff. We got a really cool Sprinter van. We have pretty much a mobile gym, and I would love to, have you be a follower if you'd like to be. So that was at The Vantastic Life. All right. Before we hop right into the podcast here, I want to make sure and mention some of the partners. This podcast is brought to you by Audible. And if you've been listening to the podcast lately, I am so stoked to have this podcast brought to you by Audible, because Audible is something that I use pretty much every single day, whether it's getting up and learning about some new business tactic, or whether it's going to bed and listening to a story to help me fall asleep. Audible is almost always in my life. It is fantastic. I believe I either get 2 or 3 Audible books a month. It's just constantly going. I'm constantly learning, and I think that it's the best way to continuously learn is through the audio, because how often do we get a chance to sit down and read these days? But with Audible, I can just put my earbuds in, I can listen and learn while I'm driving, I can do it as I'm making breakfast in the morning, I can listen as I'm going for a run or a walk. I can get usually about one book finished a week to one book every 2 weeks. That's about how fast I can get through them, depending on how long they are too. Some of them, if they get into the 10 plus hours long, might take a little bit longer. But you can really, really get a lot of cool stuff consumed via Audible, and you can get a free audiobook on us by going to allaroundjoe.com/audible. That's allaroundjoe.com/audible. And I would highly, highly recommend that you check out the book called Chasing Excellence by Ben Bergeron. If you're at all into CrossFit, you will love the book. It's a book that would be great for even non-CrossFitters, but you're going to understand it a little bit more if you're into CrossFit. So if that's but you could really get any book that you want to on us by going to allaroundjoe.com/audible. I just highly recommend that if you haven't read the Ben Bergeron book, Chasing Excellence, give it a shot. Give it a shot. It's good stuff. All right, let's get into this. How to eat healthy on a budget. So a lot of times people think, and it's a valid excuse, that eating healthy is expensive. And that is pretty much the farthest thing from the truth. Unless you're so poor that you're eating like the top ramen diet, and you're probably, depleting yourself of certain vitamins and minerals, and I would not recommend that anyway. You need to go and figure out how to get yourself some more money, some more finances, so that you can afford more than a top ramen diet. You can afford to eat healthy, and I'm going to share with you on the show how to do that very effectively. All right. A lot of times people just actually set this up as a barricade in their mind, so they think that they can't do it. But really, knowledge is power. So if you know how to do it, if you figure out how to do it, then you'll be able to do it. And it's just breaking down those barriers, because we spend in our household way less than we would, or than the typical people would who eat as much as we do, because we know how to batch our food, where to buy our food, and how to make quality, great tasting food that isn't all extravagant and take a lot of money to put these things together. Because a lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to go eat the paleo diet, or I'm going to have keto diet, but then they want to have these elaborate recipes, and that ends up costing way more. It doesn't have to be that way. You can learn how to cook really well. It's just knowledge. You just need to know these particular things, and it's going to be far less expensive than eating out, that's for sure. I think a lot of times people will think, well, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to have to go and eat at these healthy restaurants, and it becomes eating out rather than actually making food like you should, like you would. I know if you're a high earner and you have the money to be able to pay for these types of things, that's great too. There are lots of services out there that can come in and either cook for you so you have food on the go, or that will pre-make the food and send it to you. Those are also some great things. So if you have questions about that, put them in the show notes over at allaroundjoe.com/141. That's 141, allaroundjoe.com/141. And I can give you some references, even in other areas that I'm not, of people that I know that are using healthy food sources that just get their food shipped to them. They heat it up and they're good to go. And you can get all of your macros done, all this really cool stuff. So shoot me a message if that's something that you're interested in. But this is about how to eat healthy on a budget, all right? So not necessarily people that are rolling in the dough, if you know what I mean. So first things first, you want to buy your food in bulk, or at places that you can get discounts, all right? Discounts does not mean that you're getting unhealthy food. For example, you can go buy a bunch of food at Costco. So buy large quantities of high quality food. We're always looking for things like the organic, free range type stuff, all right? Always looking for that. That is included in the healthy project here. Then you're going to want to be able to preserve those things. So there's a couple ways that we can preserve them. Number one is freezing things. So if you are not going to be able to eat it all at one time, freeze some of it and then take it out when you're ready to cook it, all right? Number two is cooking or batch cooking, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So you go to places like Costco and you buy in bulk. Trader Joe's is great. I know it's not necessarily a bulk food place, but they tend to have far lower priced foods for high quality foods than the average grocery store. All right, farms. See if you can go to a farm and buy, let's say for example, a whole cow or a pig, or chicken, or whatever type of meat that you're going to be buying. We personally have found a farm that we got on a list on. So it's like getting season tickets for a sporting event. You get on a list, and then at that time of year when they basically go and slaughter their cows or pigs or whatnot, you get a call and you can pay, it's a chunk of money up front, but it ends up being way less expensive in the long run. So for example, I think that we got a grass-fed, grass-finished cow, and we ended up buying either a quarter of a half or a half of it at a time, because usually they give you the option, hey, there's a cow ready, how much of it would you like? And then you reserve a certain amount of it, and we always take the most that we can, and then we divvy it out to family and friends. So we'll say, all right, we got a half cow coming, and we only need a quarter of it. So, mom and dad or brother and sister or friend, hey, do you want another quarter of this cow? So don't think that you have to come up with like thousands of dollars to pull this off. You can do it for a few $100s and then get really, really high quality meat. I think that, like I said, there was a grass-fed, grass-finished cow that we had was under $4 a pound for all kinds of good meat. Usually you'll get the cow, and then you'll go to the place is essentially going to package it up for you, and they will have you pick the styles of meat that you want. So sometimes that's good, sometimes bad, sometimes you want to have more ground than others, and they usually walk you through it. So you end up getting excellent meat for under $4 a pound. At least that's what we found at our particular farm. We were able to pull that off. But you can do that for cows, you can do it for pigs, and we almost always share them. So there's always going to be somebody in the community that'd be interested in sharing it with you if you can't pull it off all by yourself. The only downside is you're going to need to get a pretty big refrigerator, or freezer to store all that stuff, because you're going to freeze it all. But it's totally worth it. You get a way better price. You end up buying meat like once a year. It's fantastic. All right. Next thing, cooking meals in bulk, or quote unquote meal prep. When you have food on hand, you will tend to eat out far less, okay? And you get really good at cooking things. Like anything else you do, don't think, I can't do this, I can't cook. It takes us 1 to 2 hours a week to prepare all of the food. We usually only do 5 to 6 days at a time, so we do have some leeway on going out to eat and whatnot. But we do all of that prep. You could do all 7 days in those couple hours if you wanted to. It's just about how much food you buy, and then you prepare it. And what's going to happen is that, like I said, you'll eat out far less often because you have the food just there ready for you to go. You're going to learn some recipes that I'm going to share with you later that are going to be very good, very simple, and they don't take a lot of time to cook. And then you're just going to have all of the food that you need in macros or whatever situation that you need them to be, because you're going to learn that along the way as well. And it's going to not only make it cheaper for you, you're going to be eating healthy, and you're going to be reaching those goals that you really want to reach, whether it be weight loss, weight gain, whatever that may be, performance enhancement. You're just going to pick the recipes that are designed around what you particularly need. Some of the things that we use as far as tools in order to meal prep are our favorite tool. Number one is the Instant Pot. So thank you, Instant Pot, for making that a real thing. It's a pressure cooker. So you can cook a lot of your meals in, a tenth of the time. I don't know how much the time is, but it's way less. For example, we cooked our meals for this week. It was a bunch of ground turkey and vegetables in the Instant Pot. I think it took 10 minutes. So totally cooked, 10 minutes, super juicy, excellent tasting. It's fantastic. And you can just go get an Instant Pot, Walmart, at instantpot.com, whatever it may be. I highly recommend it. You can cook all kinds of crazy things. And in fact, we got an Instant Pot for our van because we can just go and hook it up and cook things so fast that although it does take some added energy, running off of the batteries that we have in the back of the van, but it will cook so fast that it doesn't really matter. Or we could take it to a spot that has a plug, like a gas station or something like that, plug it in for 10 or 15 minutes, boom, we're done, if we didn't have the plugins in the van. So it's super easy, super good stuff. There's tons of recipes. You can make all kinds of stuff in there. So we're basically living off of the Instant Pot and a 1-burner stove in the van, and that's all that we need. But a crock pot is also good. It just takes a long time for you to cook things in the crock pot. An oven. Yes, almost everybody has an oven. So just baking a bunch of stuff or broiling stuff in the oven, you can make a whole bunch of it at one time. Stovetop. Again, you can, if you have a conventional stovetop with multiple burners, you can make a bunch of different things at the same time, and it's going to help you to meal prep and get all of that stuff done really, really quickly. A lot of times people limit themselves to just being like, oh yeah, I have a stovetop, so I'm able to do one thing. You have 4 burners usually on the stovetop. Make those burners work for you and do a lot of things at the same time, get it done really quickly, and then not have to worry about your eating for a while, which in the turn is going to help you to eat healthier on a budget or for less money. You see how this works? You're going to need some glassware, and if you're on a super budget, you can go and actually get containers from the places that you would eat out. Like, I know that there's a poke place that we eat at regularly. They have these microwavable containers that you get with your meal, and you can just save those if you're on a budget and then you reuse them. But I like getting glassware because glass is going to be a little bit healthier for you. We don't know what's getting leached into our foods from the plastic. Go onto Amazon, get some glassware. I highly recommend getting something that seals when you clip the top on, so you could literally pour liquid in it and turn it upside down, throw it in a bag, and you don't care, because it's nice to be able to take something that does have a little bit of liquid in it, because most foods do when you cook them, then being able to put it in your bag with your clothes or whatever and not having to worry about it leak on there. So get some high quality glassware, and a lot of them will say that if they are actually sealing tight or not. Easy to find, not a very big investment. You can definitely get those in 2 days on Amazon Prime, and I highly recommend it. I'll even put a link to the one that we use in the show notes. So the show notes are going to be allaroundjoe.com/141. allaroundjoe.com/141. All right, so that's what we use as far as our tools. Then next up we have find some small farms that might be selling stuff on the side. So this is something that we use regularly as far as like eggs and produce. If you live anywhere near the country, you can usually you'll see a sign on the side of the road that says like eggs for sale or produce for sale. You want to stop in there and see what they got, because a lot of times these are like little mom and pop places. They don't necessarily do this in order to be like the top of the market, like a CSA or farmer's market. They're just doing it because they have excess and they want to make a little bit of extra money. And I swear to you, a lot of times this is way cheaper than anything else that you get, and it's so much higher quality. You just got to keep your eyes open and find these little things and stop in. So don't think it's weird if you see a little sign on the road that says produce for sale and you pull down someone's driveway and you go into this refrigerator that's sitting on their property and there's nobody else around, and you open it up, pick out what you want, and just put some cash in. It's super cool, and that's how it works. So check it out, see if you can find these little holes in the wall, and you'll end up being able to get not only high quality, low priced produce and such, but it's also going to be seasonal, because they're going to be growing things based off of the season in the area that's going to be good for your body to eat seasonally and change things up on a regular basis, rather than having the same thing over and over and over and over all through the seasons. So go check that out. So next up is you want to make sure that you have, side note, if you're in Enumclaw, there's this great little place for $5 free-range eggs that are so good, the best eggs I've ever had. I highly recommend that you check them out. If you're in Enumclaw and you want to know the location, let me know, and I will get that location to you. So foods that don't have extravagance or that aren't extravagant can taste good. But a lot of times when people are going to be eating these diets, and you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, and you're like, oh yeah, I thought it was expensive to eat these quality foods, or you can't do this on a budget, is because a lot of times what I find, people come to me and they're like, well, I'm trying to eat chicken Alfredo paleo style or keto style or whatever, and it's like, well, I made it, but it cost me $15 to make it. And I'm like, why in the world are you trying to make chicken Alfredo keto or paleo? It doesn't even make sense to me. Sure, if you want to have a crazy cheat meal or something like that, or I made paleo brownies, like cool that you made paleo brownies, but the chances are that paleo brownie is not much better for you than the regular brownie. So just eat some really high quality foods that you can learn how to season correctly, that are going to taste awesome, that are not hard to make, and then once a week go eat an actual brownie or an actual chicken Alfredo, and don't do this stupid stuff about trying to make your special thing keto or whatever like that. So throw that idea out of there. Find good quality places to get recipes that are simple. Learn how to season your food properly, right? I find that is a limitation of people way, way, way too often, because they get in these ruts and they're like, can eat a different thing every single day, but when I do this meal prep, I have to eat the same thing every single day. If you make it right and you get used to it, it'll be fantastic every single day as you do this meal prep, as you continue eating. So try it, trust me, and know that at the first time that you do it or the second time you do it, it may not taste very good, but you're going to learn how to season things correctly. It's amazing what a little salt and pepper can do. And I'm not talking about a lot, I'm talking about the right amount, or a little bit of some other kind of seasonings. So go to some of these websites that I'm going to be talking about. Look at healthy food blogs, and avoid the things that are hard to create. Like I said, look at them, make sure that they're simple. Simple things mean that there's 1 to 3 major ingredients, like a meat, a vegetable, and then a sauce that you make, or a meat, a vegetable, a cheese, depending on what kind of diet you're eating, and then something else, maybe a potato. I suppose a potato could be a vegetable as well, but I'm usually considering the lean green vegetables, or the leafy green vegetables as my vegetables, and a potato is more of like an energy style carb. So that's why I explain it like that. But some of the blogs that you can go to check things out that are, like I said, make sure that you find the simple ones, because the people are looking for the hacks on the crazy things. So these blogs are going to have the crazy, extravagant things on there as well, but that doesn't mean that you're going to go down that rabbit hole. You're going to look for the things that are pretty much easy and basic to eat, learn how to season really well, eat good, healthy food on a budget that is easy to make. All right, check out the blog justjesseb.com. We get a ton of recipes from justjesseb.com. We get a ton of recipes from Lexi's cleankitchen.com, and I'm going to put all these on the show notes. So if you're driving or you're running, like I recommend as you're listening to the podcast, or books via audible.com, what you want to do is go to the show notes at allaroundjoe.com/141. That's 141, and I have them all sitting right there, and you can get them just clicking your mouse. So Lexi's Clean Kitchen was the last one. nomnompaleo.com is a great one. And lastly, the last one I'm going to mention, because all of these have so many recipes, it's not like you've got to go crazy searching the internet to find out these things that you're going to want to eat. You don't have to do that. You can just use these 3 or 4. I'm going to say the last one that I recommend is my own, which is allaroundjoe.com/meal prep, allaroundjoe.com/meal prep. And we try to post everything. Well, sometimes we get super busy and we don't get to it as much as we can, but we're making almost a new recipe, every other week, because we tend to copy the things that we've done and we really like, and we could go on a rotation at this point. But every once in a while we'll create a new one, and I'll try and post that up on the blog so that you can copy it, because they're usually basic, easy, can be done in 1 to 2 hours, and it will serve you for the whole week. And it will not cost you very much if you buy the produce and the meat and everything the way that I have taught you to do so in the podcast. All right, so you only need these 3 or 4 spots. Don't try and make this crazy. Go to justjesseb.com and just search and see what the basic easy things are that sound good, and then try them. And like I said, try and make them out in bulk. All right, and the way that you do that is you take the number of meals that they have on there and you just multiply them out by the number of meals that you need to make. If that's for you, that would be 5 to 6 meals for the whole week for that particular meal. Or if there's 2 of you, that turns into 10 to 12. Or if there's more, you can get it. But just do that. Try it and do it in an Instant Pot, do it in a crock pot, do it on the stovetop, do it in the oven. Make these big batches, put them together in your glassware, throw them in the fridge, and then when you pull the glassware out of the fridge, you just heat it up on the stove or in the microwave, and then voila, good to go. And some of these things you'll even find that they're better when you have them cold or when you have them as leftovers. And almost all the time they're just as good. I can't even ever remember or tell you something that I can remember that wasn't as good when it came out of the oven versus when we heat it up the next time. I can't think of anything. Every single time I'm excited for what we're going to eat because of that meal prep situation. We just pull it out, we're good to go. It is the way to live if you're not living that way already. Like I said, you'll be able to eat healthy on a budget. You will be able to hit your goals easier because you're not going to be guessing. When you eat these things too, all of these places you go to, it should have the proteins, fats, carbs, and calories for everything that you're going to be eating. You should be logging that on your MyFitnessPal so that you know at the end of the day how you're going to be set up for that particular goal that you have. If you have questions about that and how to set up your diet for success, go to allaroundjoe.com/88. That's allaroundjoe.com/88. That's where I recorded a podcast on exactly how I set up my clients' diets for success. So if you want to lose weight, if you want to get those abs, if you want to get faster at CrossFit, whatever, that is the episode that you want to study the heck out of, and then you can ask me questions as well. I should start charging for that podcast actually, so that people will actually value it a little bit more and taking those, because I put a lot of time and effort into that, and I've shared it a ton, and I'm just giving it to you. So go to allaroundjoe.com/88 and let me know that you did it. Let me know that you're actually tracking your stuff, and that is the tool to get to where you want to be. And if you follow these tools, then you will also be able to do it on a budget, and you'll be able to eat healthy. So I hope this was beneficial for you guys. If you have any questions, or if you have any things that you've done in the past that you think would be beneficial for everyone else to know, let me know. Drop them in the show notes at allaroundjoe.com/141. And make sure that you get a free audiobook on us, because I think that learning is something that we all need to be doing. We can do it really easy with Audible. Go to allaroundjoe.com/audible to get yourself a free audiobook on us. That's allaroundjoe.com/audible. And if you guys have any questions, just drop those in the show notes. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next podcast. The All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie.